Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa. All right, let me know if you can hear me. Go ahead and let me know if you can hear me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead, just confirm that you can hear me so I can proceed to tell you, give you updates on my side of things. Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Rich Johnson. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, I am smiling from ear to ear because we got two more T visa approvals. We got two T visa approvals, two more. So we got two T visa work permits. Now we got two T visa approvals. So, guys, it is happening, okay? But you have to take action. We are here focused on solutions, and it shows that we have been on the right path because what we are doing is we're focusing on what is in the law. And the law says that if someone qualifies for this immigration relief, they should get it. Thank you so much, Sadidam. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, I am so happy. What a wonderful week it has been. A wonderful week. And I am going to continue, me and my team, because it's really me and my team that work together to make this happen. I really, they are just as invested in me and into this law firm and the mission of this law firm to get change lives and to help people to get the relief they deserve. And oh boy, today is another great, it's just another confirmation that what we're doing is focusing on solutions here, and it is working. You know, focusing on those solutions means that we are able to really zone into what can help to provide our clients protection. What is the meaning of T visa? So make sure you go ahead and follow me and subscribe because you're gonna know I talk about T visas a lot. So here's it. It's for victims of trafficking. And the thing about it, why this area of law, many attorneys don't pick this up is because a lot of people are not educated about what it means to be the victim of trafficking. Trafficking comes in different forms. It's not what we see on the movies or in documentaries, where in the media, they mostly focus on sex trafficking, but there are different types, such as labor trafficking, and even sex trafficking, by the way, are very broadly defined. So here's what I say. If you can remember a time where you were faced so you were put in a situation where you felt trapped, you felt like you couldn't easily leave because of the actions of another, then it's time to talk to us. So if somebody made you feel like if you left a job, you would face very bad consequences, like they would call ICE on you. Pretty sure that's happening very commonly now. Or they stop paying you after you start working for them, and after they've promised you to pay you. And even if they didn't promise to pay you, if you are working, you're supposed to be getting paid here in the US. It's a violation of labor law to be working for somebody and not getting paid. So if you found yourself in the situation by anybody, could be acquaintance, could be family member, could be employer, could be intimate partner, right? Where you feel like they're forcing you to do actions you really were not willing to do, you didn't sign up to do. It's time to give us a call so we can talk about your situation and figure out if this or other options apply to you. But this is my point. You must reach out to us so that we can start talking about what you're going through and determine whether you can qualify for this form of relief. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to answer some questions, but I did want to start with that. So take action. That's the thing. Take action. Focus on the solution. Can you get a loan with your 2-year green card? Yes. No, I am by no means am I somebody who is an expert at financing or anything like that, but usually green card holders do have the ability to purchase property and to get loans. I really need to know what I should do. I lost my green card 15 to 20 years ago. I in the meantime, I married a US citizen 3 years ago. Should I apply for citizenship? Now, if you lost your green card, it doesn't mean you stop being a green card holder. It means that you are still a green card holder. You just don't have your card. But what you do need to do is apply for a replacement. And while you're applying for the replacement, you can always apply for citizenship. But if when you say lost your green card, I am thinking you mean it fell out somewhere and you couldn't find it. If you lost your green card, as in they revoked your green card, that may be a different story. So this is where, though, you need to get personalized legal advice because it sounds like you're worried about something. So it's time for us to talk about it. What's T visa? So I just explained that briefly. So, if you're in a situation like that, give us a call. That's the area that we focus on to help to change our clients' lives. We have helped clients to escape situations like this. We've helped clients to have a better outcome in the United States, to gain stability here with their families, especially if they're separated from their families. We have this process has enabled us not only to help our clients establish legal status here, but also to be able to um, get you unified with your family, because the T visa also allows you to include um, in your process your children under 21, your spouse, even in some cases, your parents and siblings. So it is a valuable type of relief that tends to change the lives of clients who have been through a lot. And I know if you're here without your papers, especially if you're here without your papers, or you were lured to come into the United States, you are going through a lot right now. Hey, is it safe to travel by plane from Seattle to Chicago as undocumented immigrant? No, I wouldn't recommend traveling by plane. There have been instances where the TSA can review your status, and keep in mind, it's like walking into the lion's den, right? You're walking into the lion's den. That's where the CBP is based, right? So if you're going in there, it's not anything. If they do determine that re- did you see they over the holiday, they tried to go into the Dodgers Stadium. So if they are trying to do something like going to the Dodgers Stadium, can you imagine how easy access is at an airport, any airport here in the United States? So you really have to think, yeah, I would definitely say you'd be at a higher risk if you see yourself as undocumented, you don't have proof of your status, then you are definitely at high risk going into the airport. Can you help a woman that gave birth to have a working permit? We need to figure out what the circumstances are. Just unfortunately, just having a baby isn't enough. But if you do qualify, if there are circumstances related to the birth, or even maybe unrelated but are part of your circumstances, then there may be relief, but we need to talk to you to figure that out. Um, All right. Answering questions on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So put your questions in the comments. It's been 58 days since I've applied for I-765, still didn't get approved. What should I do? Totally normal. 58 days is probably just the tip of the iceberg for a work permit, depending on what kind of work permit you're applying for, too. Work permits can take a few months, but it can even take up to a year. So, 58 days is not really an outrageous amount of time right now, unfortunately, to wait for a work permit. If you're concerned about anything, though, this is where you need to, look into it further, contact them. How much, or talk to your lawyer, how much time it takes to get a work permit under T visa. The work permit get before T visa approval, so 6 months. Prepare for about 6 months. How long ago these cases were submitted? So this was 2 years ago. These cases were 2 years ago. So I am seeing some cases, I would say between the 18 months mark to the 2 year mark now. So it's going more towards that end. What are the chances of getting deported? I got my 10-year green card through marriage, now separated 5 years in the marriage, 3 years since green card, in-law threatening to call ICE on me. So I'm so sorry you're going through that. And this is where you need to make sure that you have all your T's crossed, your I's dotted, and that you apply for citizenship as soon as possible. Now, you said you got your 10-year green card through marriage, now separated, 5 years in the marriage. So at the 5 year mark, you can apply for citizenship. So if it's been more than 5 years, since, yeah, so it sounds like 5 years in the marriage, 3 years since green card. So 3 years, if you and your spouse are separated and even moving towards divorce, you're not living in marital union, that 3 year timeline to get the citizenship will not apply to you. You would have to apply at the 5 year mark. But keep in mind, I don't know your situation. I'm not your lawyer. This is where you have to get in touch with us so we can talk to you individually just to make sure that there's nothing that can be done now to get citizenship. Now, what you need to do is my advice to you, and this is general advice, it's not legal advice because I'm not your attorney, but what I would say is make sure you gather all the evidence that you had a bona fide marriage with your spouse. Because if they're threatening to call ICE on you, the only way that ICE would then turn around and want to take away your green card is if somehow they corroborated, the in-laws corroborated to them that you committed marriage fraud. And they are emphasizing that they are really placing a lot of emphasis on identifying marriage fraud. So I'm pretty sure they would be receptive to hearing, getting any tips about that. So you have to make sure any documents, photos, anything that shows that you entered the marriage in good faith, this was a bona fide marriage, you need to hold those. Bank accounts, joint property, any estate planning you did together, any property you own together, including cars, land, homes, joint leases. Make sure anything that shows that you had a bona fide marriage, you just got separated, you need to just have in a safe place in case those accusations should come up in the future. But at this point, you just have to wait until your green card holder, 10-year green card holder, which means that unless they have evidence that you committed fraud, or there's something else that renders you inadmissible, you just have to wait for citizenship to come and make sure you prepare document. You anticipate any problems by just documenting everything. My work permit was applied last October 2024. How long does it take? It depends on what process you're going through. Marriage-based process, 3 to 6 months. And T visa, I would say a minimum of 6 months. Marriage-based, I think I said 3 to 6 months. And VAWA is 6 to 12 months right now. So it just depends on what process. Hi there, Jellica. How long does it take to get a green card for a spouse that lives in Nigeria? Legit marriage. Yeah. So, right, we do have cases in Nigeria. Unfortunately, I would say if they're in Nigeria, you're looking at 2 to 3 years right now, waiting time. And keep in mind things, I don't want to be negative, but I think it's always best to prepare, and it helps emotionally when you can have a timeline in your mind. Just keep in mind that, it might get longer just based on the processes they're putting in place. Remember, they're going to start looking at everybody's social media accounts. They're going to start to really sift through the applications to try to identify fraud. This takes extra time and extra manpower. So we can expect delays because of those extra processes that are in place. I filed for my underage child, but he got married at age 20. What happens now? Unfortunately, they go into another category. So if you are a US citizen, they go into a category called the F3 category. The F3 category takes about 12 years right now. So that's not good news. And that's for married children of citizens. If you're a green card holder, you cannot sponsor married children. So at this point, they have to look at alternative options or wait out a longer period if they're outside of the United States. Is it safe for my daughter to travel on her green card if she was out of country over 6 months? This is a good question. It does raise the risk. If she was out of the country for more than 6 months and then she leaves and then come back, I have seen where they are asking questions and making a move to try to revoke the green card for basically abandonment. If she's going to school, she needs to get what's called a re-entry permit first. So before she leaves and goes to school, make sure before she leaves the country, she needs to get a re-entry permit. That way, that allows them to stay outside of the US for about 2 years, right? So it's not held against them and they can still go for citizenship. And the time they were outside of the US isn't held against them, because then you stay too long outside of the US, you risk getting your green card taken away. Either will give you the option. Some of them might even try to tell you or intimidate you into signing over your green card, basically with surrendering your green card. So be careful about that. But also, if they can refer you to a judge, and then the judge will have to make a decision after you convince the judge that you didn't mean to abandon your green card. So it's very important you understand the protocols in place and requirements before you leave the country as a green card holder. Now, since she's already been outside of the US for more than 6 months, traveling can raise a risk of them taking action against her to take her green card away. We have been seeing that trend too. In addition to having a criminal record, if the person stayed out of the country too long, they are making a move to take the green card away. What happens to prima facie if the person was ordered voluntary departure from the US and VAWA? So prima facie still is showing that you have a process in place, and if they had to make a decision today, it would be an approval if everything was true. So that's the good news. With voluntary departure now, if you never left with an order of voluntary departure, it turns into a removal order. So that's it. If you get voluntary departure and you did not leave, it turns into a removal order. And that has to be dealt with at the court before you will get the protection, right? You can get the deferred action, but then you have to go back to the court now for them to terminate the case so that you can proceed with under VAWA deferred action and your green card process. I married a girl with my green card. Can she get it? So if she is here and she overstayed her time, then no, you'd have to become a citizen first. You can petition for her, but when it comes to the process to actually adjust status, they will not allow somebody who has overstayed their visa, in this case, who is married to a green card holder, to get their papers. So you really have to look at getting citizenship in order for her to be able to um, get her papers. With new policy regarding SIJS, how does that affect ability to obtain a work permit? So the SIJS right now, there's no visa available. Around October, we'll see that open up again. So in the meantime, the deferred action is still in place, and you just go ahead so the deferred action would allow you to get the work permit. So they are issuing deferred action once they determine that the SIJS is approved. If my 2-year green card, if my 2-year green card denied, my ex-wife can send affidavit to the judge. That is more of a strategic question, and it really comes down to the situation. It may not be a great idea, and it may be a good idea. It just depends on what the case you're trying to make, and on what basis are you applying for the 2-year to the 10-year before the judge. But this is why I know it sounds like you're in court, and that means you definitely have a second chance at proving that your marriage was bona fide and to get a waiver. But you must make sure that you're represented so it's done correctly this time, because there are pitfalls, especially when it comes to the court. You really just get one shot. Now, this is also why it's very important that you apply for make sure you apply and do it properly. Because if you're denied at going from the 2-year to the 10-year, if you are denied, that means they're going to refer you to immigration court. And while you will have a second chance to make a case before the judge, it gets stressful at that point. With the new policy regarding, okay, so I answered that. I married a girl with so I answered that. Is it safe? Okay, so I answered that. After filing application I-360, how long does it take for you to get the work permit? I-360 doesn't get you the work permit. You have to apply for I-485 if you qualify at the same time, and then the work permit at the same time as the I-485. So make sure you're doing that right. Or no, the I-360, once you apply for an I-360, and if you're not qualified for adjustment of status and you're going to wait for approval of the I-360, by the way, which is VAWA, it's taking about 2.5 to 3 years right now for them to approve it, and then you'd be issued a work permit. But in most cases, you're able to apply for adjustment of status at the same time. I filed for so I answered that. 36 countries pending visa suspension in case. Okay, so the country ban. So they are saying they're considering more countries to be added to the ban list. And I assume it's going to be the same thing where anybody with existing visas, can still have the visas. But it would apply to people who are outside of the US who don't have their visas. Hi, does T Visa I-192 forgive for dismissals, domestic violence? Yes. Now, keep in mind, yes. So whatever inadmissibilities you have, I believe the two that are that you can't get forgiveness for are terrorism, so national security threat, and I forget the other one, but there are two, there are basically very few. Otherwise, you can basically be forgiven. And here's the benefit for that. If you're permanently barred, like for example, if you were found for fraud, misrepresentation, maybe you left something out on your application, or at the time maybe you thought it was a good idea to tell a fib, and the officer says you are going to have misrepresentation or fraud. That's a permanent bar. However, T visa I-192 waiver can forgive it, and you're able to continue to move forward with the green card. You no longer have that permanent bar if you're applying for the green card with your T status. How long does it take you for the approval? I'm not sure. So it depends on the case type. I'm not sure which, if you're talking about T visa, I'd say 18 months is average, but I'm seeing it more going to more the 2 year side now. All right, let's see. It's been 2 months since work permit. You applied for the work permit. No, it's not out of the ordinary for the work permit to take more than 2 months. Can take up to a year, believe it or not. Do you think international students are safe to travel to their home countries? Is there anything we can do to make sure we don't get detained, given all papers are in order? Well, you know, as long as your background is clear, that the student visa does allow you to move back and forth. You just have to make sure you are fully aware of your background, everything going on. Make sure your record, your CVIS record is current at the school. Make sure you see your DSO before you leave to make sure everything is good. While I can never guarantee that you won't face scrutiny coming back in, you can take those steps to at least make sure that everything on your end looks good. Thank you for the follow. And by the way, when you like, you subscribe, you share other people, you're also helping other people who can find me and they can become empowered in their immigration journey. So make sure you're tapping the screen to like so people are seeing, and this is on TikTok. Make sure you're sharing, subscribing on YouTube, because this is how people find us, and then they are able to ask questions or just listen in and get information that can empower them through their immigration journey. Hi there, Althea. It's so nice to see you. Hello there, Defy. Nice to see you. My granddaughter is now 4 and no father. My granddaughter is now 4 and no father. Now, if your granddaughter is here, she's 4, no parents, then the SIJS process may be for her. So give us a call and let's talk about that. Because your granddaughter, there may be avenues for her to be able to get her papers here. So there may be multiple avenues, but we have to talk to you in an appointment. Now, what you can do, there are multiple ways to schedule a consultation. We make it very easy to contact us. You can DM us through the social media. We just don't do WhatsApp. So we don't do Cash App or Zelle or any of those. So don't make people tell you they're calling from ST Law office and they want a payment. Go to our official, you're on the official pages now. Make sure you click on the links there. You'll go to the website. On the website, you're able to even schedule your own appointment, or not the website, but Linktree. You go to Linktree, there's a button that says confirm your own appointment. You can do that because our schedules are filling up very quickly. And I want to make sure we have structured a team to help people 24 hours. But I want to make sure that you are not too far out on the schedule to get the help you need. So make sure you heed that warning, jump in there, schedule your own appointment, or give the office a call. We are here to help you. All right. Hey, my daughter was missing for over 5 months. The one of my friend called me and tell me we're seeing her. So I went to get her, but after I get her, she was different daughter and she was also pregnant. I'm so sorry. It sounds like something terrible happened, based on what you're saying. Give us a call, and it depends on even how old she is. But if she's here in the U.S., there may be immigration relief for her. So give us a call so we can talk to you about what happened. I want to know more, to figure out what happened. Did she become pregnant unwillingly? Did somebody force her into that situation? So give us a call. Um, Now, in order to call us, go to the link in the profile, go to the link in the description of this video, click on the link tree. You'll see everything there. You can also DM us, and a team member will definitely get back to you right away. We're in the business of answering right away. So go ahead and you can do that and get started. My husband filed I-130, I-45 for me. Now we're separated because of DV and protective order. I'm so sorry that this has happened. I know it can really be traumatic. I'm still not sure if we're going to reconcile. Should just file VAWA or wait and see what is going to happen? That's a very good question. Here's what I've learned as an attorney who focuses on VAWA cases. Do it on your own. Whether you reconcile or whether you don't, you choose to divorce. I know these things are complex, and while many people may be like, why don't you just leave, right? I know that it may not be as simple as that. But what the VAWA does is while you are navigating these very hard decisions, the VAWA continues. In confidence, your spouse will not know you're applying for this, and we facilitate that confidential process. Here's another thing I've learned. If the spouse is you've been the victim of domestic violence and you have a protective order, they're not going to stop. They don't change. So a person like this is probably going to hold it over your head or drag this out and sabotage you in the process, right? Now there's even more leverage they have. They now, because of the way the policies are, they can pick up the phone and call, and you have no protections for yourself. So I say this, you can file for VAWA, and whatever you decide, that you can do that separately. Whether you decide to stay, whether you decide to leave, whether you decide to divorce, you are free to make that decision. That's what VAWA does. It gives you the ability to make choices in your best interest and gives you the flexibility. So go ahead, give us a call. That's exactly what we do. Now, if he filed the I-130 and the I-45, keep in mind that what we have done for our clients is switch the process. So they don't call and notify your spouse that they've switched the process, but we notify USCIS after submitting a petition, and then they quietly transfer it over to the VAWA and process it as a VAWA. So just make sure you're checking out your options here. How much time to take to get I guess an A number. So once you have an immigration file, you get an A number. Now keep in mind the A number doesn't give you any benefits. It's really just there for immigration to identify you. I-751 taking more than 2 years. Do I call them? It's taking even 4 years. So you can always call them to make sure everything is on track, but 2 years is not out of the ordinary. Can you travel domestic with an approval military parole in place? So once you have military parole in place, it means that you do have protection. Now, traveling, the military parole in place alone isn't going to enable you to travel. To show identification, it can definitely show that you have permission to be here and you have been admitted, but you can get your work permit to go with it as well, and that's going to be important for you to travel. I filed for my wife and she got her immigration visa. However, she comes from the 36 countries pending visa. Will she be denied entry if the law is passed? So they did say if the visa was approved before June 9th, then they would not hold it against the person. So if her visa was approved before June 9th, it should not affect her approval. All right, I'm gonna answer the last few and then head out. My sister have a convention against torture. Is it safe for her to visit ICE appointment? So this is usually a judge ordered relief. And it's unless something has changed in the country where that danger isn't there anymore, she should still be safe because it is a legally mandated type of relief. If they wanted to take it away and then deport, they'd have to even go back to the court to do that. I have permanent bar. I'm applying for a VAWA. What do you think? So the permanent bar can be lifted under VAWA in a certain case where the abuse was tied to the permanent bar. So usually a permanent bar is if you leave the country, you come to the country without inspection, then you leave and then you come back again without inspection. That can trigger, I'm simplifying it, but in all, that could trigger a permanent bar. Under VAWA, if you're applying for VAWA, then that can be lifted if you can show that the mistreatment or abuse that you experienced was tied to your re-entry into the US. Any other options after this? The status was updated to here instead of Jamaica after approval. I'm not sure what that. Green card appeal was denied. It was initially denied because the visa extension was denied. So, yeah, so if you are the relative of a green card holder and then at the same time you're applying for a visa extension, that you do run the risk of it not, if you applied after your status expired, that's where the problem is going to be. So get legal advice. It just sounds like a little more complicated than I can discuss on this live. 2 months since my visa application was sent in, still no receipt notice. Yes, right now, that's not out of the ordinary. We're seeing about 3 months for receipt notices to come. Do you know how long DACA renewals are taking? It's been over 3 months and still waiting. It's very frustrating. And, in some cases, I'm seeing them take a long time, even 6 months to a year for those to come through. Can I safely travel with my work permit? While I can't guarantee that you can safely travel, you are allowed to travel with your work permit domestically. My sister have conventions. I answered that. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you everybody for your time. As I said before, we got 2 more T visa approvals, and that is all the more proof to you that the law is still there and immigration is processing the laws. We're going before the judge. The judges are following, processing the immigrants, based on the law, and they are considering the relief we're asking for. So this is still in place, and the reason why is because it's in the books. Only Congress can repeal the law. So get in touch with us. Let's talk about your options. You can schedule that now. We are 24/7, 7 days a week. We are open. So give us a call and then we will schedule you, or you can schedule yourself so we can figure out your options. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Awesome. I can't wait. I'm pretty sure our attorneys are always excited to talk to you. So I can't wait to hear about your appointment because I talked to the attorneys here about cases. That's my main function right now is I'm really focusing on strategizing. And while attorneys here at the firm are working on helping people to become our clients so that I and my team can strategize to help you with the best solutions. So get on it. All you have to do is take action. All right. Have a good one. Have a good weekend and be safe out there, guys. Take care and remember, walk in faith and focus on actions that lead to solutions. Bye-bye.